Pizza Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride. We're back. We're
back. Don't worry, I know nobody noticed, but for anyone who somehow did,
we back.
And the best thing about the Let's Ride meme is I just have loved so much watching Russell Wilson suck ass with the Denver Broncos. And it's even better that, your Raiders report for the day is the fact that the Raiders beat said Denver Broncos. And it was nice. The first win of the year for the Raiders, finally. And it is against a division rival. And against Russell Wilson, and so it's a fun meme. I like it.
Yeah, I think this sums it up pretty well. I mean,
Russ cook. 100%.
Russ Cook. I mean,
fucking Christ, what is this image? Oh my god! Immediately scarred for life. Like 10 seconds into the episode, and I feel like I need to bleach my eyeballs.
My personal favorite Let Russ Cook photo is this one.
That is the best. So good, dude.
Dude, in all seriousness, if Russ was cooking more danger witches on the field and not off the field, we'd be having less of a conversation. In all seriousness, honestly, dude, I think the Denver Broncos hired the wrong football coach, and I think they learned that week 1, and I think their season has been in jeopardy ever since. I mean, they can't even. I mean, when you can't eat, when Russell Wilson is struggling to even convert first downs, because it's not like a year ago Russell Wilson couldn't get a first down, right? Like a year ago, Russell Wilson was still one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
Sure, and he got injured, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and
that's kind of what.
Yeah, and there was even a moment like when the Broncos won like a couple weeks ago, when Russ just was like, "All right, I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna just do my thing." And clearly that was when, the Broncos started moving the ball a little bit. But ever since, it just seems like, I'm not sure if, because listen, like, this offensive coordinator that they brought in, I believe Nathaniel Hackett is the name of the coach. I know he was the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. But I mean, how much can you really be called a genius for Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to Devontae Adams a lot? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was just going to say, it kind of reminds me a lot of the guys that come out of the Packers from, I guess you could call it front office, but the coaching staff, rather, of the Packers reminds me of the Patriots, where they've been really good for a long time. And so then people just hire them thinking, oh, well, the Packers are good, or, oh, the Patriots are good. And then you get them as your coach, and then you go, oh, nope.
It's even like it's like the thing that everyone says about it's like the other thing that everyone's brought up as well. Like I remember Sunday Night Football like a few weeks ago, and Chris Collinsworth, he was like, oh man, Nathaniel Hackett, like him.
Now here's the guy.
Rodgers. One thing Aaron Rodgers would say, it's like, all right, time to hear why this guy's special, and it's like they would throw darts and drink beers together. They were buddies. It's like
they were buddies, they were pals, they were amigos.
Like it's like it just feels like they brought Aaron Rodgers' dart buddy to come play darts with Aaron Rodgers while Aaron Rodgers leads them to success. You know what I mean? But but that fell through, so instead they brought in Russ. And I'm not sure. Listen, I know they're gonna have a new ownership group coming in. I know that
the Walmart family, that'll go really well.
Yeah, but like in all seriousness though, like I think they'll realize pretty quickly that, it's like, you're not that guy, pal. Like I think when that man decided legitimately to run the clock down so that he could force himself into kicking a 64-yard field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 3 with an all-pro quarterback who will make the Hall of Fame, that's where it's just like, I got nothing for you, Chief. Like,
I love that shit.
Like, dude, even I would know not to do that when I'm playing Madden.
Speaking of which, the current Madden game is an unplayable fucking nightmare. So, that's really all there is to say about that game. It's fucking horrendous. So, anyways, that's my note on that. As a person who hates the Denver Broncos as a Raiders fan, I kind of hope that they never figure it out. That would be nice. I will say that the old look of the like 70s Denver Broncos with like that baby blue and the bright orange or whatever is fucking awesome, and like I would totally rock that shit or whatever, like fashion wise. But like as far as the actual team is concerned, they can kick rocks. But Sean, as a slightly funny aside here, as we move into some other things, but to keep on track of football,
Football.
I was you know, fantasy football last week. I was
Uh-huh.
playing a guy who for some reason has, in our league we only have one quarterback that you play at a time.
Mhm.
So almost nobody has anything more than their one quarterback on their team, and then their bench is filled with, actual bench pieces.
Right.
Um every now and again you'll see a guy with an extra quarterback. Well,
Right.
Sean, this gentleman who I played last week had Jalen Hurts. He had Tom Brady, and he also has Aaron Rodgers on his team. This man has 3 quarterbacks on his team. And what's really great about it is that the one he chose was Jalen Hurts with 19 points, whereas he missed out on the 45 from Tom Brady and the 26 from Aaron Rodgers.
So
So
I don't know about you, Robert, but it just seems like without fail, every fantasy football league that you're in, just
sure.
every one of them,
Mm,
you're gonna have like your 3 types of people, right?
mm.
You're gonna have your tryhards. You're gonna
Oh
have the
yeah, my
ones
brother.
you're gonna have the ones that like that listen to a podcast about it and say they do hours of research.
They think
And
they're a
so
general manager. They're throwing out trades every
yeah,
single
yeah,
week.
they're like the way like they pay attention to the waiver wire, like they're super into it,
They've got
right?
like a pencil in their ear and they're like
Yeah.
writing shit
You
down, but then
got
they still never win the
yeah.
league.
And then like you got your football fan who like, he'll do the draft. He's here for it, but like won't really do much
He
throughout the
watches a
season.
few games
Yeah.
throughout the year, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. Pretty
And then you
casual
have
guy.
these motherfuckers. The team, we're just here to have fun crew.
You
Where
yeah.
it's incredible because Robert, the amount of people that I have had in leagues throughout the years that are like,
Mm,
well, I like the Lions, so I'm gonna draft the Lions player. I'm like, this is this is fantasy football.
yes.
In your wildest fantasy, you're going with the 28th ranked running back, the
Right.
29th ranked wide receiver. Like, okay, I'm 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 gonna go with freaking, Devontae Adams over here. Like, have fun, But
Yeah.
yeah, it's always fun to me. It definitely makes me chuckle just seeing all the stupid things people do in fantasy.
Well, and
It's great.
the thing that's most amazing about it is the fact that this gentleman drafted Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers back to back in the draft
And
and
then
has
he was
still
like,
held
I
on to
need a
them.
third quarterback.
He just decided he needed Jalen Hurts for some reason as well. Now, Sean, the thing that's even worse about this gentleman is that last year he won our league, and the reason why he won our league is because he kind of exploited a rule that he didn't do anything technically illegal, but he did something that nobody else has done ever in our league, which is he just traded away like all of his draft picks basically to one guy in our league and got all of his best players, since that guy was pretty much fucked or whatever and wasn't going to do very well in
Oh,
the
so he
playoffs.
cheated.
Basically, yeah. And so then
Yeah.
the thing is that like he all of these great players went into the playoffs and then just like did really well and won the league. So
Right.
then he goes into the draft this year and has just ass picks. And so he ends up with honestly not that bad of a team. Like he has Devontae Adams and like, Cam Akers and all this kind of stuff, whatever. So like he has an okay team, but like he went in with no draft picks, and the guy who ended up with all of those draft picks, his team is as mediocre as it's ever been, which is impossible. It's impossible. He had like 3 first-round picks. I don't know how the fuck he isn't on. And I'm the only undefeated team, and my team is really mediocre, like really exceptionally mediocre. And yeah, it's
The
fantasy football, man. It's
Here's what I'll say. The amount of leagues that let me get Lamar Jackson on a contract year boggles
mm,
my mind. Boggles my mind. Like, are you telling me not only I get a healthy Lamar Jackson, but I get a motivated one too?
Mm.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's fun.
Yeah, I've been doing really well with Patrick Mahomes. He's
I
been
heard that
good.
he might have a place in this league someday.
Yeah, he might
He
be all
might
right.
he might get a starting spot someday. I hope that turns around for him.
Yeah. My depth is completely shot, but like my two main starters being Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs is a pretty fucking good running back tandem. Wide
Mhm.
receiver is pretty shot. I've got Debo Samuel, but he's literally the only wide receiver that's worth a damn on my team.
Hey,
So,
speaking of your depth being shot, how's the Buccaneers doing?
well, Sean, you see.
What
I
if
will
I
say
t
this.
what if
We have,
what if
and I think I discussed it. I don't know if I mentioned it on the last pod that we did or not, but I've been saying all year that we have still yet, except for this last game finally, we have yet to look like the Buccaneers that we should be. And this last game, it finally looked like everyone gave up and just said, you know what? This like running and like new scheme bullshit we've been going with, let's like maybe not do that because our team's literally not built for it. And they were like, how about we do the thing that our team was built for the last two seasons that won us a Super Bowl, and let's do this like pass heavy thing. And then it worked like really well, and they were doing really well. And it's just like, that's fucking crazy. And yeah, so I feel like if they had done that, sooner, then they probably would have won that game against the Chiefs. The second thing is that also, I think Tom Brady injuring his shoulder obviously did not really make things great. But it's all right.
Yeah.
He's getting a divorce, and that means that I get to have him as my quarterback for another 10 years.
Yeah, he separated his shoulder and separated his marriage.
That is correct.
But with that, what if I told you that
Mm,
after 4 weeks, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the same record?
mm,
2 and
mhm,
2. And the Buccaneers are 0 and 2 at home.
sure. It's not great. Listen, like I said, I think no, I'm definitely not super happy with a lot of things I've seen this year. I will say this though, in the first 3.5-ish games of the season, it was just a lot of playing not Buccaneer football. We're not built for the offense that we were trying to play with, and um, I think the team knows that, and I just think a lot of what it was is, okay, let's try this and see if it works. If it does, cool. Like that just gives us another asset, another weapon. I think it's becoming extremely clear that that's just not going to happen. This, slow run first kind of, punt the ball sort of thing, just grind out and whatever. And like with our defense, you would think that we would maybe be able to get away with that. But the defense has also looked a little bit suspect at times, especially last week. For whatever reason, a team that has had this amazing defense that you simply cannot run against just got fucking run up their throat and they couldn't stop anything. They were just tissue paper for some reason. So that was
Mhm.
interesting.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
no, I just,
he
I
also had a difficult schedule to start the season, in all seriousness. I mean, you're losing to the
yes,
Kansas City Chiefs. It's not exactly an upset, right?
right.
And like
Week
and
one
listen,
against the Cowboys is obviously no joke.
well, like,
Um,
and like at least, like 31 points, at least, the offense is starting to come alive a little bit because I think before this matchup, it was just like, this offense was looking like a shell of itself. And, I
right.
listen, I've shared my opinion of Tom Brady and things like that. I have no idea
Mm,
if he's going to compete beyond this year. I know he has defied age at every turn, but
mhm.
even for someone who has defied age, I just don't see how even him could still be going at 47 years old or 46 years old. You know what I mean? I just
Same. And the thing is I think before last week, I would have said, oh, he could easily play the next 5 years. But when I saw him kind of wince pretty hard when he went down with that shoulder, I'm like, okay, he can play for the next 5 years if
I think
the
this
Buccaneers
season,
can get the greatest offensive line in history.
I feel like this season already just seems like it's taken out more out of him
Mm,
than almost any other season. Like, it
sure.
just he looks like shit. He smells like shit. No,
I
just like
I think with obviously everything going on in his personal life, I think that's obviously huge. I think the second part of it as well is the fact that he obviously did not come in, like, totally conditioned and ready because he didn't go through the training camp the proper way. I think the other part of it is the fact that the offensive line, it was pretty much just disintegrated going into the season, and so he has like no protection. So I just think it's a lot of things that all sort of come together as one thing that really, really obviously sucks and makes things really hard on him.
right.
I think as the season gets going, I think we'll see some things get better. Hopefully, some guys can get healthy. Maybe we
He
can
did
make some moves
also
and
like
things.
in certain aspects, he did create the difficulties for himself. Eh,
Sure.
but yeah, I will say, and I think this is I think this is currently like why Tom Brady's still in the league. I think this speaks to this exact quote. This was actually from earlier today.
Mm,
Tom Brady was asked about parity in the league currently, and he
mm,
said, "I think there's a lot of bad football from what I watch. I watch a lot of bad football, poor quality of football. That's what I see." And I just think he sees you know, just the fact that, I don't think there's like a clear number 1 cut team in the NFC. Like, even though the Eagles are undefeated, I don't know if anyone would like I don't know if anyone would cement them a ticket to the Super Bowl right now.
I know
I
the
don't know.
Eagles.
I don't even know if there's anyone in the AFC that anyone would like comfortably cement. Like, the Bills are perhaps the most talented team in the
Yeah,
league, but even
maybe the
then, like,
Bills, but
do you trust the Bills in January?
not so far, no. I mean, the Bills just in general, like, their legacy, like, I know that this is obviously not the team from 30 years ago or whatever, but, like, I mean, that's just kind of the legacy of the Bills is to be really, really good and have these really, really great teams that feel unstoppable, and then they hit the playoffs and they just shit the bed. It's just kind of it's kind of the way that they've been for a little while
Well,
now.
and, like, it's not like they've shit the bed of late, like, they at points, they looked like the better team against the Chiefs even,
Sure.
like, last year in that playoff matchup, it's just,
And
they had
losing to what was it, a coin toss? I mean, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
damn, you
it
can't
was like
help that.
yeah, it was overtime rules, right? But, like, it's
Mhm.
even then, like, this team, even for how talented they've been, they've shown, for lack of better terms, like, they've shown chinks in the armor, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, I think, for Tom, I think that's just why he's still here is because he firmly believes he still has that shot. For me personally, I don't know beyond this year, like, what the Buccaneers, like, where they go, from here. I don't know, like, what, because it's just hard to tell like where the NFC is going even too.
Yeah,
It's just it's just going to be really interesting to see how it develops. I personally, if you were to ask me right now, like I still kind of feel like they're a team that I think they'll win their division. I think they'll probably win a playoff game, but I think like when push comes to shove, like that time of the year, like it's like obviously it all comes down to who's going to be healthy by then because
sure.
right now it looks like they're struggling to get through each week with their injury situation right now even, so
Yeah, and I mean, that's a lot of what plagued us last year as well. So we'll see how it goes, as well as injuries, obviously, on other teams in our, division and conference, stuff like that. But
I mean, meanwhile, for the Lions, we just need we need a defense, please. Like,
yeah,
just get a
I don't know how that game had like 2,000 points scored in it somehow by each team, and yet they still fucking lost.
oh my gosh.
That
Like
game was just basically like neither team believes in defense. Yeah, that was brutal. That was brutal stuff.
the Lions are the first team in NFL history to score
Mm.
140 points through 4 games and have a losing record.
You know, I'll say this about the Lions. I think that there is so many great signs this season. If they can hold on to this all year long and bring it into next year as well. I think if they can continue to tighten up the defense throughout the year and can figure some things out, maybe even after a bye week when they can really hammer some stuff out. I think that if they can hold on to whatever this awesome offensive fighting spirit is into next year, and they can draft a couple of, a couple more really great guys on defense.
A lot of it's the scheme. A lot of it is Ben Johnson, the offensive
Mm,
coordinator. He was an offensive assistant last year
mm,
when the Lions relieved Anthony Lynn of his
mm,
duties. Dan Campbell took over a lot of the play calling responsibilities, but Ben Johnson was like one of our, like, I think he was like a running backs assistant or like a wide receivers assistant, but he essentially helped in the play design, towards the end of the year, and
mm,
eventually earned the offensive coordinator job. And he and Jared Goff actually worked really closely together this offseason and put in a lot of work and tailored an offense around, what makes sense for him, but also, like where the Lions want to go. And like obviously so far, I mean, it's working great. I mean, they're getting Amon St. Brown the ball. Like the offense is doing its job. Jared
right.
Goff has actually looked fantastic, quite frankly.
Yep.
Like he was missing Amon St. Brown,
Mm,
DeAndre Swift, and DJ Chark, and they put up 45 points. The problem is our defense is historically bad.
yeah.
Historically bad. And a lot of it is like a lot of it is not even the personnel and talent. A lot of it's just coaching. It's like even like Dan Orlovsky, he does like film breakdown stuff on Twitter from time to time. Like one of the touchdowns that the Seahawks got in like a 2-minute drill, the Lions are literally running like a single safety formation. Like, in what world, long field situation, are you only having one safety to back up your corners when
Sure.
the clear thing to do is throw the damn ball? Like, that makes no
Right.
sense. So it's just like, I get like Dan Campbell has like done a lot of good things. I just, for whatever reason, Aaron Glenn, just his play calling just isn't it.
Mm,
Something, if we go to New England and let their third string quarterback, have the type of game that he had in Green Bay, or, if he goes out and looks like the second incarnation of Joe Montana,
mm,
we got a problem, man, because
yeah.
this isn't it right now. Like it's just bad.
Well, I actually know a former defensive coordinator that actually could really help out the team that you guys could hire.
Don't
His name is Matt Patricia, actually,
I
and
hate you. Go yourself. Also, he
you
can't
can pick
because
him
he's
up while you're in New England,
well,
though.
actually, we can't because he's too busy being the lead play caller for the New England Patriots offense somehow.
Yeah.
And he's gotten both the starting and backup quarterback injured because he doesn't know how to call an offense and actually scheme for pass protection.
Well, see, then there's a good reason for the Patriots to fire him, and you just take him along with you.
That you know that,
And
that
you can, and then, what was his name? Aaron Glenn? You can just leave him there, and he can call the plays. Just trade him. Yeah. This is a good plan.
yeah, there is no flaws with this whatsoever. None.
I just really had to get under every Lions fan
No, but
skin.
in all seriousness though,
Yes.
like
No,
just
honestly, sorry,
it's
go ahead.
it's a lot of it is just like you could just tell that it's just players not being put in the right position,
Mm,
missing fundamental assignments, doing like basic things that you're taught in training camp in like the first week. It's one of those things where, like at a certain point, if it, like Aaron Glenn has allowed like 30 plus points in numerous occasions now. It's like if you can't call, like, this is a guy that like over the offseason people were talking about like, oh, thank God we didn't lose him in coaching searches. I'm like, can he even call a defense right now?
it's kind of the way that the Buccaneers felt with Dirk Cutter. It was just like, oh, we can't lose this guy. He's just been so great, or whatever. And we need to keep him at all costs. And then they promoted him to head coach, and then he was ass. So that was fun. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. It's kind of actually happening with Todd Bowles right now. It's like he's a freaking defensive mastermind.
I
Like
I
he's
remember
amazing, and
I
he is a great defensive
I
mastermind.
remember you wanting him to be the coach really
Ooh, Dirk
badly.
Cutter.
No,
Oh,
Todd Bowles. I remember at one point, I do remember, like, during the playoff run, like, you were like, "Arians needs to get the fuck out of here. They need to let Todd Bowles take over."
I think I wanted that could be correct. That could be correct. I think I wanted Byron Leftwich though. Am I wrong?
I thought, yeah, I mean, you could, you
I don't
could be
remember.
right.
I don't remember. I did at one point though hate Bruce Arians. I have now completely reversed that course. I would like to apologize to him and kiss him on his little flat cap and tell him that I apologize, Father. Please come back. Todd Bowles, please call the defense because you were great at that. And let's pretend that this whole thing didn't happen, huh?
It
He can just reverse his retirement like Tom Brady did, and Tom can also just form a line behind Bruce Arians and kiss his ass and apologize for being a freaking idiot.
I just I will say,
Mm,
I each week, just as each week concludes, I'm just like, "All
mm.
right." In theory, I'm like, "All right, one less week until Tom Brady retires again. Let's go." Like, I want him gone. I can't.
I really don't know how to express this to you in any helpful
He's
or
not going anywhere.
he's
I
not
know.
going fucking
I know.
anywhere. I
I know.
really don't know how to express that to you in
He
any other
he
way.
has an illness, dude.
He
He has
does.
an illness.
He would not, let me Sean, if he was gone after this year,
I would dance in the streets.
he would not have sacrificed his marriage like this. My man is definitely playing for multiple years after this, and that is the problem. I think that's pretty obvious. There's no shot that my man is giving up his marriage for one final ride with a Buccaneers team that I don't know that he has very much faith in to begin with.
Yeah, who knows what the piece of shit's doing.
I
Yeah.
could see him going to the 49ers, to be all honest with you. I think the
Well,
49ers makes a lot of sense.
here's what I will say. This is the last year I'm talking about him. After this year, I'm done.
Until he wins his 9th championship with the San Francisco 49ers at the ripe age of 48.
It's not happening.
We'll see, Sean. Time indeed will tell. But, Sean, speaking of time telling us things,
I just
uh,
want him to go away. Damn it.
I know you do. And, I love you, buddy. But I don't know what to tell you. Now, Sean, you see, there is this thing coming up, and I know that you know it and that you love it well. And it is, of course, known as the NBA regular season.
Yes.
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 Everybody,
Yes.
everybody, and especially you, love the NBA regular season. Now, my
Yes.
friend,
Yes. 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 Yes.
as your mental health gets better and better as each week of this rolls on, the hopes and dreams of multiple fan bases will get worse and worse as it progresses. And who better to start off with ranking than your Philadelphia 76ers here, Sean? Where do we think that such a team with James Harden, who has apparently lost weight for like the 70th time in his career, who's suddenly great again, where is this team going to end up, Sean?
So, in your mind, do you have champs being like, this is just one team, or like, are these like teams that could be champs?
Yeah, sorry. Let me clarify the rankings here. So the champs is going to be probably no more than a couple of teams that
Yeah,
are
like
the yeah,
to me, I would say champs would be two teams from each conference. So two
yeah,
teams from the East, two teams from the West.
yes,
I
teams
want to
that
I want to clarify because with that, I would put the 76ers in champs.
okay, all right.
Um,
I'm gonna
they
put him there for a moment. Yeah, go ahead.
um so here's my reasoning. So
Mhm.
James Harden does appear to look to be in shape.
Mm,
He from early returns, from early, like watching preseason, he appears to have some of that quickness and that twitch back,
mm,
which is imperative to him creating separation and him being successful. Also, James Harden took less money this offseason to allow them to get more depth. They added PJ Tucker over the offseason, who the Bucks traded for, mid-season when they won the finals.
mm,
He was huge for the Heat last year in their Eastern Conference Finals run. and now he's back with James Harden after years of playing together in Houston. He's a perfect fit for what Philly needs. And I think on paper, this is the best chance that Joel Embiid's had for a championship. I
Mhm.
think, at this current point in time, there's only one other team in this conference I feel like is a true threat to them. We'll get to them in a little bit, but
Okay.
I think I'll just say this: I think the door goes through Giannis for them. Otherwise, if they
Sure.
can get, I think if they can get through Giannis, I think they're going to the finals.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of great points that I definitely agree with. I think that the 76ers, especially now having finally gotten rid of Ben Simmons and being able to kind of move on and have a unit, have a team, yeah, I think that they've got the superstar power to do something. They have a full season together. And to your point, yeah, they added some really good pieces. So yeah, no, I think that that's totally fair. I think
Well,
this is where people have had them for a while, but they're just finally gonna maybe be able to live up to it.
Well, and it's like there's always been things that have loomed over the franchise for years, right? Like it's always been like there's always been that underlying drama. Like, but now it's only about basketball. It's only
True.
about what heights these guys can reach. And if we do indeed see if we do see that James Harden, even at 90% of MVP James Harden,
Mhm.
that's a dangerous team. If Joel Embiid is indeed that MVP level guy that we saw if he is just that again this year, that already makes them like a dangerous team. But,
Mm.
add in the fact that, they're deeper than they were last year. They're tougher than they were last year. Harden is going to be in a much better place because Harden in the playoffs last year was atrocious. Like people forget, like he was
Yeah.
a shell of himself.
Right.
If he can be more than that, they're at least getting to the conference finals.
Yeah, for sure.
At least. So, to me, they have everything they need to get to the finals. It's just a matter of if they put it together. They have the talent.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so I think champs is going to be, yeah, teams like this that I think it'll just be a select few. Playoffs is teams that we think that they are guaranteed to make the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
And I think wild card is basically just going to be they could sneak into this, but they might fall just
So like the
short.
play in.
Yeah, somewhere in that, like, they're definitely within that where they'll either A, be a play-in team or they'll make the playoffs, somewhere in there where they're flirting around in that kinda range. And then mid is that they probably don't have any chance of making it into a wild card even, but they're not like a totally awful team, they're
Yeah.
alright. And then bad is obviously just, they're not a great team, but dog shit is a team that's just spectacularly, um, Sacramento. Um
I just I disagree with you even. It's the funny
No,
thing.
I know. The problem with the Kings, they're not technically dog shit because they do have a decent amount of talent-ish on the team. Um,
I just feel weird putting them in the wild card tier. Like they
yeah, they're definitely not that.
well,
I think they're probably
no,
bad.
just because there's just not a wild card in basketball.
Well, no, I know. Wild card, I think I don't mean it as like a literal wild card. I think I mean it more as like they kind of their future's uncertain, you know what I mean? To where
Yeah,
it's like they're good enough to maybe make the playoffs, but not so good that you're confident in saying like they're for sure making it. It's kind of like kind of a heads or tails, It's a 50-50 shot of like, hey, some things might happen and they might just miss the playoffs kind of deal.
I feel like that's kind of where they're at this year.
Is it, Sean?
Yeah, yeah. I think on paper this is the best roster they've had to make the playoffs. Like I think like if you look at the West, like if you there's 10 teams that
Hmm,
make postseason play. Like there's like the 6 teams that make the playoffs outright, and then there's your 4 play-in teams, right?
right.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, like Houston's gonna be dog shit. The
Right.
The Thunder are gonna be dog shit.
Oh, yep, yep, yep.
The Jazz are gonna be dog shit.
Oh yeah. What Sean, what is going on with the Utah Jazz?
What's going on is they're gonna be dog shit.
They're gonna be dog shit.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
And then so like you already have the bottom 3 right there.
Right.
There's only 1 or 2 teams in between that. And looking at them versus the Lakers, and you're asking me which roster I'm more confident in? I'm more confident in the Kings than I'm
Sean,
confident in the Lakers. If the Lakers field the roster that they have right now for an 82 game season, they're going to struggle to win 35 games. I'm dead serious. They
do
they
we need to
have
make another bet?
they have the worst shooting roster in the entire league.
I think we need to make another bet.
Robert, name one shooter on the Los Angeles Lakers.
I mean, okay.
How about this?
Yeah, okay.
Name me two players out of LeBron, AD and Westbrook. Name me
Sure.
two Los Angeles Lakers right now.
Oh yeah, they just traded the one that I knew. Never mind.
Thank you.
They traded.
Allow me to introduce you.
Hmm.
And you can go ahead and we could just talk about this team right now. I think they're mid.
Well, hold on.
I think the Lakers are mid.
So the Kings. So first of all, before we settle on them, because obviously you definitely don't want them in bad. I don't know that I'm ready to give them a wild card. I think that they can go in mid.
I could see mid because
I
to
think
me,
saying wild card is a bit bold.
I think the Kings are in a situation where I think they're not good enough to make any serious noise in the playoffs. I think they're
No.
good enough to make a playoff series and maybe get one win in the playoff series. Like that's it.
think if
Okay,
all
but
of
Robert,
this, yeah.
like let's
What
actually
did they
talk.
do
Like,
last season?
okay, well, last year they almost made the play-in.
Okay.
And then, towards the end of the year, like they made the trade for Sabonis to push for the play-in. And then they just like, had injury issues and, the season fell apart. And then this summer, to their credit, they actually did get better. Like they got Keegan Murray in the draft, which Keegan
Right.
Murray has looked fantastic of late. Like
Right.
he looked great in summer league. He went out against LeBron and the Lakers and had 17 points in his first preseason game. Looks like a pro's pro. And then they went out and got Kevin Huerter as well from the Hawks, who's one of the top 3-point shooters in the league, like one of the better shooters we have. So like this roster is like actually going to be competent this year. Like, they got Mike Brown, who's a seasoned, experienced coach. He coached some of the LeBron, like he coached like the LeBron finals team for the Cavs back in 2007. He was Steve Kerr's assistant with the Golden State Warriors for years. Like this guy is like a seasoned, coach. He's been around. He's not going to lead a locker room that's going to be dysfunctional. I think for the first time in a long time, the Kings actually relatively have something, and I like the pieces they have, and they actually have an upward trajectory. Whereas the Lakers, when we can get to them in a minute, but they don't. So if you would put them in bad, I would concede the Kings to be in mid.
I think I'm gonna put the Lakers in mid because honestly, if it was up to me, I think I would put the Lakers here. But I will concede them to mid, and I think you know what, just for the fun of content, I think I'll allow your bullish take and put the Kings in wild card.
Allow me to read you
Here,
the
will this help you
roster.
out?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It
Anyway,
was gonna bother me for so long.
this fucking idiot.
Well, like,
Anyway,
okay, but anyway, I'm a nerd. That's what it is. I'm just a
you're
nerd.
something,
All right,
Sean.
all right. Allow
All
me
right,
to
the
read.
Los Angeles Lakers.
All right, let me read to you this roster: LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell
Sure.
Westbrook, Patrick Beverly.
Oh, that's right. They got Pat Bev.
Yeah, Kendrick Nunn.
Oh, Nunn.
They have
Yep.
Juan Toscano Anderson, Troy Brown Jr., Thomas Bryant, Lonnie Walker, Max Christie out of Michigan State, who they drafted in the second round. That was their highest draft pick in a while. Jay Huff, Javante McCoy, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, Matt Ryan. Not that Matt Ryan, a different Matt Ryan.
I was gonna say, I mean, he's been pretty bad with the Colts, so
yeah. Dwayne Bacon and Damian Jones.
you lost me immediately after Nunn.
That roster, Robert, I'm just gonna fill you in. This is the worst roster LeBron's played with since he made the like since he made the finals in 2007.
Mm,
Like this is this is since before that, honestly, like this is a bad roster. And the only way it can get better is if they trade Russ and also they trade multiple first round picks. Until they do that, as currently constructed, this
right.
roster, I would even wager to put him bad. But like I know LeBron will elevate them to mid.
Yeah, the only reason I have them there is because I believe in LeBron James because it's impossible not to. I think that Anthony Davis, I believe and hope that he'll have a bounce back season. I think he'll be great this year. Westbrook, as long as he's not like the worst player on the face of the planet and can contribute even a little bit, I think that this team can end up in mid just because of those guys.
My
But yeah, to your point, they're going to
my
need to make some moves.
my one cautionary thing with the Lakers
Mm,
is that they because riding LeBron, I know it's something that, we look at LeBron as like the beacon of health.
sure.
But like if you look at his if like literally if you just look at his time in LA
He's missed a lot of time.
in 2018-19, he played 55 of he played 55 of 82 games. In 2019-20, he ended up only playing 60 he played 67 games. He was relatively healthy. The season was cut short due to COVID, but
Right.
I mean, he's still missing time in there. 2020, 2021, he played 45 of 82 games.
Mm.
And then 2021, 22, he only played in 56. So like the past like he's only reached the 60 game mark once the last 4 years. So,
Father Time is catching up to him
it,
fast.
well, it is like like he's still it's catching up to him in the sense that he can still go out and he can still be great, but
Yes.
he can't do it on the night to night basis that he used to be able to because LeBron used to be able to go out in 79, 80, 81 games a season and was like Mr. Durable. But like the reality is like, you know, like LeBron's to the age now, like last year, he sprained his ankle and he literally questioned if he was going to be the same after that.
Yeah,
Like
it's true.
that's just so like and then if LeBron goes down, are you relying on Anthony Davis? I mean, and
Not
even when
not currently. I mean, unless he can show himself to turn around, yeah.
do you know what Anthony Davis shot from the 3 last year?
I don't know how many games did he even play last
He
year.
played 40. So
Okay, it's not
he averaged
terrible.
23 points, still he's a career 30% three-point shooter.
Sure.
Uh he averaged 18%.
Yeah, that's not great.
And this is a big that wants to play primarily in the perimeter.
Oof.
So, I'm just saying, man, like
No,
that
it's definitely rough. It's definitely a team that like
I
the
like
Lakers of this are long kind of gone. And I
like
think
if
more
you
and
look
more
at
the COVID year looks,
like if you look at it solely on paper and if you're like removing all context from this and you're just looking at this like
mm,
from the lens of a casual NBA fan,
sure.
you'd think I'm an idiot. However, if you
Sure.
actually look at the situation, look at these rosters objectively and remove the brands and the stigmas behind the brands,
Yeah,
one
the
roster is just
names.
better than the other. It just is.
That's fair. That's fair, Sean. And this is why we have a an expert of your caliber with our program here. And Sean,
Oh,
I think the person of your expertise would agree that the Milwaukee Bucks belong at the top of this list.
they were who I was hinting at earlier, as far as
Yes.
like to me, like I would have put Boston up there with this group as well. I
Yep.
think they're in the
Boston.
playoffs in my opinion. I would put them in the playoffs. I
Oh, the
would not
Celtics?
personally just because of the coaching situation with Ime Udoka
Yikes. Yep.
losing their
Forgot
coach.
about that for a hot second. And yep.
Like just to me, like even though they have a coach who's seasoned and is someone that like can like steady the ship,
Sure.
it's like they're just it's hard
That
to
was
recover
big.
from that.
That was
Like
big.
yeah, like what championship team starts their season out like that? Right? Like just generally speaking. And even then, like if they faced a healthy Milwaukee team that last year, it's an argument. There's an argument of whether or not they even get out of that round. You know,
It's true.
Like Giannis, if he had Chris Middleton, I don't know if they would have even like that's the thing. Like that's why like the
Really
Bucks are
good
so
point.
good. If they were healthy last year, they were the best team in that conference. They just were. They just never had it. They just never were healthy last year. Um,
Speaking of teams with amazing talent and guys that can't ever seem to stay on the court together, where do you put these Brooklyn Nets?
they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
Like
They're
I like
definitely a playoff team, but like, do you think that this season, by some magic, a combination that has literally not worked even a little bit yet in Brooklyn, do you think that there's any chance in hell that this combination of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant finally works this season?
I think I think you're going to see the best of it that you have. I think for Kyrie, there's direct incentive for
Sure.
him to be a team player this year. I
Mm,
think, I think he even talked about how he's looked himself in the mirror a little bit himself and, on certain things. I think with Kevin Durant, like I think the big thing for the Nets this year, to their credit, before this year, they've just been talking championship or bust, championship or bust, championship or bust. This
yes.
year, they've been like, forget that. We need to be respectable. We need to be competitive. We need to have a culture of accountability. So, like, in my opinion, this is the first year in a while where instead of saying, like, we're just going out there to win now, they're actually talking about building something. And to me, that's where the difference comes in. And to be honest with you, like, I like the roster they have
Sure.
this year better than they do last year. They have more guys who play defense, shoot the ball, less bloated veteran minimum contracts like Blake Griffin. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
actually so I think for them, again, I think for them it's just about, building back up that reputation this year. I think it's like
Sure.
even if they lose in a playoff series, as long as they go down swinging and as long as they go down competitive, because at the end of the day, if Kevin and Kyrie show that they're a legitimate team again this year and they build respect up,
Yeah.
there's a world where going into next free agency, there's going to be guys that want to go to Brooklyn. Like this is by no means an untenable situation. And then the
True.
other piece of it too is that Ben Simmons is
Ben
in a
Simmons, I was
prime
just gonna
position
bring
to
him up.
succeed. He's in a prime position to succeed, being in a
Sure.
situation where he doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to be worried about guys clogging the paint for him. He has all these shooters he can pass the ball to. I think it's going to work. And so I think this team is going to be a lot better than last year. I don't know. I don't know if when push comes to shove, I don't know if they have enough to be contenders, but they're definitely going to be more competitive.
Fair enough. And now, Sean, stick with me here. What do you feel about this?
We don't even have to have a conversation about it. I mean, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's who they are. I mean, the Warriors are the best. They're the next dynasty. I mean, they are in prime position to win a championship again this year. And the crazy thing is that they also are still developing young talent in the background. I mean,
Yeah.
James Wiseman, he had a pretty damn impressive start to his preseason. And if he can be if a guy that everyone's been dogging the Warriors for drafting at number 2 overall, if James Wiseman's the big that Golden State's hoping he can be, they have him, and then they have Jordan Poole, and then they have Andrew Wiggins, like they have Jonathan Kuminga, they have Moses Moot, like they're going to be good for a long time. They are built to win for years to come.
And I feel like this is kind of, and I guess, my reasoning was obvious. I didn't know that this is how things would play out for the Warriors, but this is kind of the case that I was trying to make, a few years back when the Warriors were really bad and the Warriors, had a top pick in the draft and all that kind of stuff. Like, I remember saying, I was just like, guys, the second that everyone gets healthy, aka Steph and Clay, like once those guys are healthy and once they have some of these young guys around them, they're kind of just getting a couple of years off to almost not take a break, but kind of get themselves in a position to where they can sort of snatch some really great talent that they wouldn't have had otherwise,
Yeah.
and then just be able to go right back to being the dynasty that they are. Like,
Well, in
they're a
fairness,
team that
Robert
as soon as they got healthy, I was like, they're gonna go win a championship, and then they did.
but in fairness, Robert, I don't think they would even have told you that they would have come back and done it that quickly because the reality
Sure.
of it is that, like, you know, for the Warriors, so many things, came into place at the perfect time. I mean, if you think
Oh,
about it,
yeah.
like that, like those couple of years, like the fact that they had as many players develop into who they were, a lot of people thought that these last couple of years, like when the Warriors were losing all those games, like whenever people see that, they're like, oh, well, this season's just pointless. What's the point? Well, to answer your question, the point is, guys like Jordan Poole get a crap ton of touches during all these losses, develop into the players that they are, and then within a couple years, team up with Steph and Clay and Draymond and win an NBA championship. Now, the
Mm,
one thing is, the one thing that could come in the way of this team is the thing that comes into the way of every team, which is money.
yeah,
Draymond specifically it has a player option after this year and
right.
is due for an extension. Jordan Poole's in the midst of extension talks. Draymond reportedly got in a scuffle with Jordan Poole in practice yesterday and punched him.
Jesus.
So there's
That's not great.
Draymond is if Draymond's all on board and is the Draymond that they expect, which I think he will be, I think they'll be perfectly fine. However,
Yeah,
if
that's not great.
that's the one thing that could really tell what happens with the Warriors for years to come. Because if they ultimately decide to let Draymond Green walk,
Right.
that changes fundamentally who the Warriors are from here on out. It just does.
Do you think it's for the better or the worse if they keep him?
I think because the tough thing is like they're gonna have to make some decisions on like if they keep Draymond, they
Mhm.
might not be able to keep Wiggins too. And that's kind of the thing
Right.
is like, do you keep Wiggins or do you keep Draymond? And it's like I see the case for both.
Sure.
Personally, I in my opinion, I think Draymond's been the heart and soul of the Warriors
Mm,
system. But if they can, to me, it's easier to replace Andrew Wiggins to me than it is Draymond Green.
interesting.
But that's not a that's future Bob Myers problem. For now, how about what to
Well,
save some time,
sure.
do you wanna, like, go through some of these teams that, like, we know kinda, like, where they're gonna be? So, like, the Pacers, like, they're dog shit. Do we even wanna talk
Ye
about them?
Well, hold on. So you think the Pacers are this bad?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How come?
Absolutely. So I mean, first of all, they initiated the tank this last year.
Sure.
They went and got, they went and traded, their guy Domantas Sabonis. They got Tyrese
Yep.
Halliburton back, who is a good player. They
He is.
drafted Benedict Mathurin, who,
Mhm.
who is a solid player. They have some young pieces that I like.
Sure.
However, Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, two guys that are like really prominent and like two big pieces on their team, probably not going to be on the roster by the end of the year. All indications are that this team is looking to build through the draft. I think they're going to be positioning themselves to be in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. I was telling you a little bit about that before we were recording, but
Sure.
I think now more than ever, I think you're going to see, certain teams really position themselves to be in that mix. The Pacers have made it pretty clear through their moves that they're looking to be in that mix.
I would, say that this team is probably in one of these 2
I'd put
categories.
them in bad. I'd put them
Yeah,
in bad.
I think bad only because they do have a little bit of talent, and they did get a top draft pick, that I think will help them stay just out of this
I
territory.
think I think they're like where the Pistons were last year in a sense
Yeah.
of like they're like there's something really promising there. They have a lot of talent. They're just a year away from really competing, in my opinion.
Now this is an interesting team, but, I will say I feel like they should go here, but I'm gonna be courteous, and I'm gonna put them in play-in just because I like them.
I
but
would
I think
also
that
have
they're
put
pretty
them in
mid.
I would also have put them in mid, but
Yeah.
Robert, for you, we'll put them in play-in.
I don't want to give up on this team because I love them so dearly, and I just don't. It pains me to see them in mid because of what their potential is, but just having that unknowing sort of situation with, um,
I'm just
um.
gonna tell you right now, Lonzo ain't playing this season.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Lonzo's not coming back this season, so that's really really bad. And he was so great the short bit that we got to see him, um,
The
and
pro
I guess
the
it's kind
problem
of
is with this
like
roster. The problem is with this roster is once both Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball went out the lineup,
yeah,
it all fell apart,
right.
right? And the reality is that um I'm sorry. I just got distracted. I just saw so you showed me that guy Ho You Fat from
My
France.
boy, ho, you fat.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal's son Sharif posted a jersey swap with him, with Sharif O'Neal and Ho.
I love that so much.
Oh my gosh, so good. But anyway, I apologize,
No, you're good.
but
Yeah,
but
no, I think that the Bulls are just in a really unfortunate situation of like they had a lot of things going really, really right last year, obviously, with DeRozan having the spectacular season that he had. But then they also had things obviously going super, super wrong with obviously Lonzo Ball having an injury that apparently is so bad that the man is still struggling to walk properly.
he can't go upstairs without pain.
Yeah, it's a very kind of a bizarre and scary and sad situation because of just how good it looked like he was going to be on the Bulls, and he was finally in a new scenery, and it looked like that was going to pay dividends. But
Here's where this situation gets really ugly for the Bulls, Robert.
yes,
Uh, they didn't have their first round pick last year,
they sure did not.
and it ended up being Franz Wagner, who actually looks like is going to be a really good NBA player. Really could have used him, by the way. They really could have, but he's with
Sick.
Orlando, and this upcoming year, unless the Bulls manage to have a top 4 pick, they will not have this pick this year either. That will also be going to Orlando. So
Sick.
if the Bulls are indeed mid, if they're in a situation even where they're bad, that is terrible for them. The
Yeah.
only way this season is a relative success for them in any sense is like it's only salvageable if they're really terrible and tank to the point where they get a top 4 pick. Otherwise, Orlando gets that pick too. And that talent in Orlando, they get to add their own lottery pick this year and then potentially another lottery pick from the Bulls as well.
Yeah, it's really an unfortunate situation. I really hope for the best in Chicago, but I guess we'll see how it ends up playing out. And
Yeah, the
obviously, I just hope for the best.
Spurs
Well, hold
dog
on.
shit.
So I put the Mavericks up here. I don't think we have
Oh
to say
yeah.
much about them. I think it's pretty obvious that
Yeah.
that's where they are.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of knows why. I will
Yeah, they
also
got
say,
Luca.
right, I think the Suns are here too. I'm not prepared to put them in champs either.
No, 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 no. They're not. They are solidly playoffs. They just lost the
Yeah,
other day to the Adelaide 36ers.
sick.
Do you know who the Adelaide 36ers are?
Never heard of
They
them in my
they
life.
play in the National Basketball League, which
The
is the
NBL?
yeah, which is Australia's basketball league.
Jesus.
And they not only were they an Australian league team, they finished 7th in the NBL last year. They lost to a middle of the pack Australian team.
Well, in that case,
They're playoffs. They're not going to be
they're
anything more than
playoffs.
that. They're
Now,
not going to be
Sean,
anything less.
I've got a take that I don't know if you'll agree with, but what do you think of that?
I love it.
I do too. I
That
think
is
that
a
this
really
team
good
is
take.
really, really primed to go out and make a lot of noise.
I think I really like the roster that they have put together as far as depth on
Agreed.
paper. It's impeccable. I think for them, it's going to be about having Kawhi and Paul George consistently healthy this
Yes.
year. If
Yes.
those guys can be on the court, build chemistry, like have that rapport, no one's going to be able to stop them.
Agreed.
And that's just where they've been, right? Like it's just like, it's just they, the first full year they played together, they really weren't able to stay on the court much. And then beyond
Yeah,
that, there's just been health issues lingering here and there. But like this team made it to the Western Conference Finals like a couple of years ago,
it's true.
and largely didn't have Kawhi that entire playoffs run.
Right.
Imagine if they do.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think that this team, man, I think that's like kind of an oddly sleeper team.
Yeah,
Um, I think that these Wizards just going bad.
I think they're mid to bad. I
Yeah.
think they could. I think they could. Like possibly be a play-in team, but like nothing
Mm.
more than that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Yeah, yeah.
Like if you look at the East, like the bottom of the East,
It's not great.
but like they're better
Yeah.
than they're gonna be better than the Magic.
Sure. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I'll give them mid. They don't really deserve much more than that, but yeah. And I think honestly, this team with just how much they've regressed, I'm putting them firmly in play-in.
I regressed.
Yeah, I feel like last year, like really the last couple of years, with how good Trey Young is supposed
But
to
do you
be,
know what they did this offseason?
I do not.
Okay, they went and traded for DeJounte Murray, an all-star caliber guard. They have a big three now. Like this is a playoff team.
Gotcha.
This is a firm playoff team.
Okay. You think that that'll finally push them past kind of this awkward phase they've been in here?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Because I just feel like the Hawks have just kind of been an odd team that I feel like they have all of this potential and then they just haven't been living up
They
to it.
they pushed their chips in this year.
Good for
They
them.
their roster, like DeJounte Murray, he was on the Spurs last year. He's like a walking triple double, all-star caliber point guard, another playmaker that's gonna allow Trey Young to play more off ball, which is gonna allow him to like essentially make his life way easier. Overall, I think the Hawks are in a prime position this year.
That's fair. The Denver Nuggets. Play in?
Playoff.
You think playoff?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
This roster was missing two of their star players. And
That's true.
they even were above the play-in last year. Now they're both back.
That's
This
true.
team this team could possibly go to the finals. Like I honestly like to me they would teeter in champs. Like they would be one of the teams contending for champs in the West for me.
Hmm. Okay. Fair enough.
This man
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that they don't do a lot for me, but I guess, it is what it is. The Memphis Grizzlies. Now the Grizzlies are an odd team, eh?
Yeah.
This is
They're
a
a play-
weird ass team.
But they're a playoff team too. I mean, they were a second seed in the West last year.
Yeah, they're definitely a playoff team. This is an odd team because I feel like they're on the cusp of doing something really cool in Memphis. For the first time in a long time.
There's a real chance that they could be in the champs tier if they take the next step. Like if Jaw continues
Yes,
to, because with Jaw's like game changing ability, he has the capability to make this team a championship contender. And
agreed.
if other young pieces develop alongside that, they could definitely end up that way.
Sean, do you feel comfortable with putting the Hornets in bad? Because I
I'd
really want to put them in bad.
I'd put them in dog shit.
Dog shit, even.
Well,
See,
you
I put
forget
them.
they lost Miles Bridges.
They did. They very much did, which is why I was putting them in bad.
And replaced them with nothing. They in addition, like you just go top down this roster. Like they brought in Steve Clifford, who's coached the team before, who wasn't very good. I
Sick.
think that this team is going to very quickly try to get Victor Wembanyama alongside LaMelo Ball this year because I think that's like really the only chance they have of salvaging whatever they have right now. This team's gonna be dog shit, and you
Gotcha.
can book it.
Okay. We will move them down then. I am gonna go with the Toronto Raptors. Where do you feel that this team goes? Now, I don't know much about them, so I'm gonna allow you to just decide on this one.
I'd put them at playing.
You think playing?
Yeah, like they're gonna
Okay.
be in the mix. I think like this is a team that like they have a couple guys on there that are all-star caliber. They have a future all-star in Scotty Barnes. This is a team that like they always like
That's
tend to
true.
like they always tend to rank above where people expect them to be.
That's true.
And even in like to me, like I'm not confident enough to say that this team's going to like be a solid playoff team in this conference, but I'm confident enough to say that they're gonna make it through. They're either gonna make it through the playoffs or the play-in. Like they're gonna be in the postseason.
Gotcha. Now the New York Knicks, I think play-in is pretty fair for this team.
I think that's fair too. I think
Yeah,
like a lot of people were overreacting after the Pistons, preseason loss, but like people
sure.
forget that like the Knicks were a fourth seed in the playoffs like 2 years ago.
Right.
And they dealt with health issues last year.
Yep.
And then they added Jalen Brunson,
Right.
who a lot of people were like, "Oh, this guy can't play." Like, obviously, he's not the guy you want to be your marquee free agent, right?
Sure.
But if you look at the addition that he is, you know what he is? He's a good point guard, which is something the Knicks haven't had in a long time. So, you know,
Yeah.
so
They
like
still need a star point guard, but he's a very good point guard.
they just need a star. They just need a star.
They need
And like
a fucking star on this
it really doesn't
team.
matter what position they have him in. Like you can
If
have
you're a fan of this team, there's no jersey to buy. There's no must-have jersey.
right.
There just isn't. And honestly, that is so just fucked up for a team that plays at the Garden every single night. Like, it's just like, what the yeah.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like, I can't believe that they haven't had like a true star on that roster since
Well, really since
Melo.
Carmelo. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
really
gonna
since
say since
Carmelo.
Melo. Yeah,
Well,
which
yeah,
is
and then they fumbled
ridiculous.
getting Donovan Mitchell this year. Speaking of Donovan Mitchell, the Cavaliers, look at that.
Yeah, look at the Cavaliers. Now, this is a team that I really like in this
Yeah,
range
they're
here.
they're a playoff team.
They're definitely a playoff team, and I think that they have a real possibility to go far.
They have a chance to be contenders. I
Sure.
think in my opinion, this is one of those rosters that's like they're a year away from being contenders to me. I think
That's
like
fair.
I think this is one of those situations where I think you put together a roster. It's like, man, this is the year where they can go out, they can make a statement, they can establish themselves. But like, it's kind of like what Memphis did last year, where they established themselves among the top class of the NBA, but at the end of the day, weren't quite ready to take that step of going to the of contending and going to the finals. Like that's just where they
Yep.
are to me.
Yep.
Like I think like I could even see Cleveland over succeeding this year and going to the conference finals.
I
But like
could too.
at the end of the day, if you look at their roster, the only player that there's only two players that have playoff experience:
True.
Kevin Love and Donovan Mitchell.
True.
You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna like Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, like Darius got like they're just gonna have to get their licks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say though, just kudos to this entire front office and this franchise for like how quickly they have put together a fucking awesome roster that is going to be a lot of fun for them for a long time.
Well, and a lot of people were doubting them.
Yeah.
After LeBron left, it was like, all right, here we go. Many more years of sucking. To their credit, they are by no means a laughing stock anymore. And for
No,
years,
they went through some growing pains, but damn.
even if they lose Donovan Mitchell, this team's going to compete for years to come.
I
And that's
agree.
even if he walks.
I agree. The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, right? They're a
they're a
very
playing
mid,
team.
like you
They're
think
I mean,
even
to me,
playing? Oh
yeah,
yeah,
like
you know what? Playing's fair. Playing's fair.
we don't really have any we really only have them and the Kings in the play-in so far. I think
Sure.
for me, what puts them in that situation or in that position, I think like this is a team I could see like like having a top 4 seed in the conference, but at the same time, I just don't trust the consistency enough of Cat and Anthony Edwards to like
That's the problem, right?
and like I like in Rudy Gobert too. Like at the end of the
It's a
day,
big
man,
addition, but yeah.
like listen, dude, like just historically, bigs bigs don't age the most gracefully, especially after they turn 30.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert is now 30. And I just, I just the amount of assets they gave up, the amount of depth that they
Yeah.
gave up, I don't think people understand like Patrick Beverly was like a fundamental piece to them last year. Like he was like a big part of what got their culture to be where they're at. I just don't see them like losing that and then just like still having that same intensity every game because there's no player that brings that intensity like him. There's just not.
I agree. No, I hope for the best for this team. I think they're a franchise that has really kind of just taken a beating when it comes to their identity and when it comes to their brand, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I hope for the best for this franchise. And they have some good players on the team, but like you said, yeah, he's on the wrong side of 30, and we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams that just are taking a beating, it's these poor Portland Trailblazers that I really feel like should be in bad.
I think they'll be at least a play-in team. I think they're playing to mid. I think they're like, to me, if I were to put them in like, if I were to rank them amongst any teams, I
Yeah.
think I'd put them in anywhere from like the Kings to the Lakers spot right now, because
Mm,
it's like from all reports, all suggest like all intel, everything suggests Dame's gonna look awesome again this year. Like we're getting Dame back. Like
gotcha.
he really was just slowed down last year by the injury. So apparently we're getting Dame back. You know,
I hope so because he's my favorite player in the league. So
and having a guy like Jeremy Grant alongside him, like he is going to help a lot.
I
However,
completely forgot that's where he went.
yep. So like I think he's a great addition to that roster. I just I just don't think they have a competitive enough roster to, to do anything above. Like I think the play-ins, like, like their ceiling to high floor. And I think the reality is like this team could very much just be middling in the West and like just miss it.
Yeah, I really have no faith in this team. I love Damian Lillard, but that is about the only thing that I like about this roster is pretty much him.
Yeah. I
And
don't blame you there, man.
yeah, it's just a team that like here's the thing, I love this team. I think they're just one of these franchises that I just wish was able to compete up in here, but they've absolutely proved nothing. They've gotten rid of assets at this point, and they're just kind of clinging on to Damian Lillard, and so I just feel comfortable with them in mid to bad. But
Yeah.
I think mid's a lot more fair.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
The New Orleans Pelicans. Now, this team I'm pretty bullish on. I will say.
I'm pretty bullish on them too.
Yeah, I think honestly, even playoffs might be in order here.
I think playoffs is totally in order. This is a
Yeah,
team. This is another team like just like I even said for like how the Cavaliers, if all things go right for them this year, they can make the conference finals.
easily. Yeah,
Exact same thing for the Pelicans. I mean, Zion, all like, did you see how Zion looked in preseason?
yeah.
I I
If he can look like that, yeah,
I listen. There is a reason why even after how bad things were looking last year, there is a reason why even at the lowest of lows, I held on to my Zion stock, because when Zion is healthy, when Zion is in good physical condition, he's one of the most explosive players we have in this league. And the reality is that like, going into last year, this team looked like a disaster. Even like middle of last year, like people were talking
oh
about
yeah,
like Zion wanting out, like this team like
yep.
being in shambles,
Him
David
going to the
Griffin losing
Knicks.
his job. And then Herb Jones was a player that started, showing up. You know, other pieces of the Pelicans started contributing. They started, showing an identity. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute. Like they actually have a pretty awesome roster. And Zion was like, wait a minute. Why would I want to go anywhere else? Like, why would I not want to play here?
Sure.
Like and they could have folded to like the pressure because everyone in the media was like, oh, you should just trade Zion because he's clearly going to want out.
Right, and
Now
just
you
try to
have him
get
locked to a
value.
5-year contract. He's excited to be there, and you could potentially be contending for titles as soon as next year.
Yeah,
Like,
it's impressive the very, very quick turnaround. Yeah.
yeah, man. Like, and they even have CJ McCollum. They even extended him this offseason too. Like,
Yes.
even
Yes. Yeah,
like
speaking of Portland.
he's locked in. Well, like yeah, like traded from Portland to New Orleans. He's locked into New Orleans now. Like he's excited about what they have. So like if you just look even at like if you just like assuming they don't make any other trades, which they're going to, like
Yes.
they're gonna go get another star to pair CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson
Mm,
is your big three.
yeah,
I'm 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 I'm
pretty
running
damn
with
good.
those odds.
It's pretty damn good.
I'm feeling pretty good where I'm at.
Sean, unfortunately, a team that we
I feel like we
love
should save
dearly.
them for last.
You think so?
I
Okay.
mean, we've gotten this far, right?
That's fair. That's fair. My Miami Heat, God, would I love to put these bad boys up here, but unfortunately, they
Bump
are
them down a
simply
couple.
they're in playoffs.
I think they're a play-in team.
I think play-in? I don't think they're that bad.
So I think this roster, they they lost PJ Tucker in the
Yep.
offseason. Uh, they didn't exactly do anything to get better. They uh
Right.
they just paid Tyler Hero $140 million.
Yep.
Um, which I don't think's a bad decision. I just
It's
think
not
it's a
terrible, but
I just to me, like, I think they overachieved last year, if I'm being honest with you. Like, as far as like talent to where they where they were supposed to end up versus where they ended up. I think they overachieved. And I mean that as a compliment. Like they genuinely like they took a roster that on paper was like in the middle of the pack and brought them to the Eastern Conference Finals within like a game or two of going to the finals.
yeah.
Like, credit to them. But I think the reality is like you're gonna have to get like in order for this like this conference is deep now, deeper now than it was. And for this team, like they're gonna have to get a consistent Jimmy Butler all year. We
Right.
don't like Kyle Lowry towards the end of the year looked like a shell of himself.
True.
You know, I don't know what I'm getting from this team at the end of the year. And so for me, like this is a team that I know like every year there's always like that one team that like doesn't live up to our expectations. I feel like Miami is like a team that is primed to be in that position, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's extremely fair. And I think in all likelihood they very well could end up in this group. I think just based on their Heat culture and their what they've shown us over the last couple of seasons, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say playoffs, but I think you're very right there.
Mhm.
Now I will say these Detroit Pistons that we love dearly on this show, obviously are going to be bad.
I think bad to mid. I
Yeah.
think this is a team that's like
I
I think they're
think they're
shooting
mid, but I
for
think they're bad.
I think they're shooting for a play in still. I think that's the goal. I still think they got a more competitive roster. Listen, the Eastern Conference just is insanely
It's
deep.
insane. That's honestly, here's the thing. This is not shitting on the Pistons. I think that this team is great. I think the world of them. I really, really like the young talent. I can't wait to see what Ivy ends up being. I can't wait to see how Sadiq Bey plays out this year, Cade Cunningham in year 2. But I just think that this is a team that is in an unbelievably stacked division. And so it's just like, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people yet again just I think people see talent in a draft and like immediately think that it's just going to translate to the court right away,
Right.
and it's just not the case. Like I think with specifically just looking at um just looking at like Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, they're super young, they're super talented players. They're
Yes.
gonna need time. And like to me, it's like competing doesn't necessarily mean like contending, right? Like it doesn't mean
Exactly.
it like even if this team is shooting for the play in, like this team, it would still be a success if this team missed the play in with like 2 or 3 weeks ago in the season, right?
Oh, that'd be a huge success,
But as long as they're
honestly.
competing for it, like that's the thing is like as long as they're in the conversation, they don't have to end up being a team. Like they could even go to the play in, and if they had a play in game,
Sure.
that would be a massive success.
That would be a huge fucking success.
And
Like one that I don't think people would quite fully grasp.
I don't think we're going to be in a situation where like we're going to be bad enough to where we're going to be in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. But
Yeah,
I do think we could potentially be in a situation where we could get a top 10 pick.
for sure. For
And
sure.
and this is this is being touted as one of the deepest draft classes in years. And so having a top 10 pick in this year's draft, it would by no means be a consolation prize.
For sure. No, I think this is a team that's going to compete hard. I think they're going to do a lot of things that show you that they are a significantly better team than they were. I think we're going to see a lot of great things out of our young talent. I think we're just going to play a lot of teams that are way too fucking good right now, and we have a tough schedule. Like, we just
Right.
have a really tough schedule,
Yeah,
honestly.
man.
And it's to no fault of our own. And I just think that the Pistons are going to sort of, just by virtue of the way things are, they're going to end up looking way worse than they actually are. And I think that that'll just play into our hand, honestly, because then, like you said, they can get a nice top draft pick in a deep draft, get yet another great piece to this team. And I think within the next few years, I think we can start flirting with this area and start heading, north, obviously. I mean, we spent so long in dog shit that being in bad almost feels like a saving grace. So if we can make our way to mid, and God, if
I
we can start heading to green, I mean, Jesus.
I think, to me, I would if this was my tier list again,
Mhm.
I would put them in mid. I think they're gonna be slightly above Orlando. And, to me, like, but again, that's why it's like that's why there's only 2 teams in that tier, because that's the thing about this league. Like even the margin between champs and dog shit isn't even that far. Like the
Yeah,
the reality is like these teams all have insanely talented players, but it's like that's why it's like it's hard to distinguish like bad to dog shit. It's such like a thin line. But also
yeah,
like, but like in reality, it's like I like just because they're in bad doesn't mean I think they're gonna be a bad team, but like
sure.
they're definitely going to be, they're still
Their
gonna have
record is going to be bad. Their record will be
they're
bad.
gonna be below, but they're gonna be below 500. They're gonna be below
Exactly.
500.
Like, they're going to be a bad team. And that's honestly the reason why I have them in bad, is just because I have less confidence in their record than these teams. I think that they're just, by virtue of growing pains, the amount of young talent and rookies, it's just, in the tough schedule, I'm like, I think this is a team that's unfortunately just going to end up looking worse than they are.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think that is fair for them.
Steph Curry on Victor Wembanyama. He's like the 2K create a player.
Jesus Christ. I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
There you have it, everybody. So we are picking the Sixers, the Bucks, the Warriors, and the Clippers as your most likely championship contenders. And if you're a fan of any of these teams, do not subscribe to League Pass, because you will not want to watch it anyways. Just delete your
No,
account.
no, if anything, if you're any of those fans at the bottom, you actually might want to be the ones to subscribe to League Pass the most so you can
To
watch
watch
any
any
team.
other team.
Yeah, to watch any other market than your own.
That's a really good point. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, if you're a fan of one of these teams, you might want to go on to Fanatics and buy yourself a nice baseball cap of any of these that aren't these.
If you're any of those teams at the bottom, you're watching Victor Wembanyama highlights all year long,
Yeah, you're
and
going to
you're
watch
just
a lot
praying.
more college basketball than you are going to be watching the NBA this year.
You're gonna be
Uh,
booking flights to France to see if you could possibly see this Wembanyama man in action.
yeah, good luck, y'all. All right, Sean. Now, oh shit. One thing that I think is going to be extremely entertaining is watching you attempt to have any idea what is going on in this list.
Oh no.
I cannot wait. I will not expand too much on each team necessarily to go too in the weeds. Although I think, people might find some of this interesting. But I think what will be very interesting is to hear what you think of teams that you know nothing about. So, Sean, are you ready?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't gonna go as long as the NBA one because
Right.
for the sake of time, but
Yes, correct.
I'm ready to give my expertise, if
It's
you will.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Sean, the Anaheim Ducks. Do you
Well,
know
do you
a
wanna put the tier on there? Like, do you wanna put this, like, up on the screen?
Oh, is it not on there?
No, like, we still
Oh,
have
it's
the NBA
showing
one.
this one. Oh, it's showing that. Hold
Yeah, so
on.
you have to unstream the NBA one, and then you have
I
to
see. I
restream
see.
the
I see. I
NHL one.
see.
Hey, it's okay, we're learning. We're learning.
I thought you guys were already looking at it. My bad here. All right.
How dare you?
There it is. Beautiful.
Mhm. I mean,
Now,
alright. The Anaheim Ducks.
We got the Anaheim Ducks. Let's
I'm
hear it,
glad you
Sean.
asked me about the Anaheim Ducks because I have a
Yeah.
lot of opinions on where they're going to be heading this season.
All right.
A lot of offseason moves. They are, to me, they're going to go down as one of the NHL teams of all time. To me, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with mid. This team is fucking mid.
I'm dying. I'm dying. This team is firmly a potential playoff, but probably a wild card. I don't even know what the hell we call our version of the wild card or playoffs or whatever the fuck in the NHL because it's kind of new. But yeah, no, the Anaheim Ducks are a team that is going
I
to be a
thought this was
force.
my list.
Oh no, this is definitely no. I'm having you here for the shiggles of it. I'm having you here so that you can put your intake, which is hilarious to anyone who knows hockey, and then I'm gonna correct it.
Sounds great. Here's what I
the
feel. Here's what I feel pretty comfortable on. The Coyotes.
okay.
They're gonna be dog shit.
Oh, they're going to be beyond buns. This team is playing in an arena that is smaller than our local Van Andel arena. They're
Yeah.
playing in a college. Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
This team is completely hosed.
Yeah.
The only thing good that they have going for them is that they went back to this retro logo full time, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, go Ducks. They've got Zegras. He's pretty great, and this team's going to be a force to be reckoned with as they continue to get better. Sean, the Boston Bruins.
I think they're gonna be a playoff team.
I think you're right. I think that the Boston Bruins have great talent on the team, and even though they continue to lose pieces and also just lost their coach, they're kind of that annoying ass team that no matter how much you want them to start becoming bad, they just keep making the playoffs and ruining your life. So,
To me, they're just like the annoying mole that won't go away.
That's exactly what they are.
They're the Tom Brady of hockey. Anyway, the
Yeah,
Buffalo
pretty
Sabres.
much.
Also,
Yeah, the Sabres.
They've been pretty dog shit for a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
So you got to think at some point they're going to turn this around. But
Okay.
it's not going to be this year because they're going to be dog shit.
I can't breathe. I tend to agree. I think, excuse me. Oh my god, that is fucking great. I think this team is from dog shit to bad. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna put them in bad. I don't think they're quite
Just because I
dog
did them
shit.
that dirty, you're putting them in bad.
Yeah, I don't think they're down here any longer. I think they're slowly moving north. The Calgary Flames, Sean.
Speaking of north, the Calgary Flames. I'm gonna
Yes.
go. This seems like a wild card to mid team to me. I'm gonna go with wild card.
Sean, this is a team that I'm extremely bullish on. Now, they somehow lost all of their best players, but then also went and got some of the best players. They did some wild, crazy shit in this offseason. I feel great about them to the point where I damn near want to put them up in championship because I feel extremely bullish, but I'm gonna be realistic and put them in playoffs for sure.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Let's do that hockey. All right. The Hurricanes.
This is a wild card team. This is a team that always is in the mix. They compete. They play with their hearts on their sleeves.
Sean, this is one of the best teams in the NHL. They're definitely a championship contender.
You're goddamn right they are. Go Hurricanes.
We have of course the Chicago Blackhawks.
This team's going to be dog shit.
They're going to be dog shit. They just had a fire sale and pretty much got rid of everybody that was worth a fuck that's name isn't Patrick Kane or
Even
Jonathan
I knew
Taves.
this team was going to suck. Even I know this team's tanking for Victor Wembanyama, and they're not even in basketball.
Yeah, this team is this is going to be a special level of bad for Chicago fans. And your Stanley Cup champions here now, of course, they are firmly going to go right back up.
Champs, yeah.
They're amazing. They're young. They're great. The Columbus Blue
let me
Jackets.
tell you, Columbus. When I think of hockey cities,
sure,
Columbus comes to the front of the mind.
Sure, of course it does.
The sports capital of the world, Columbus, Ohio.
It's
of
something.
Course. They're going to be bad.
They're going to be a playoff team for sure.
Oh,
this is
good for them.
Pretty good team,
you only have seasonal depression in Ohio State down there, so I guess you gotta have something else,
It's true. Now, the Dallas Stars are a team that I hate with a passion. However, I think that they're just a really fucking mid to bad team. I'd like to put them in bad, but they're annoying enough that they love to be mid. So I'm going to put them in mid.
I'm not going to argue with you. That's what's up.
we'll save the other half of the Pizza Palace, the hockey portion, for last. So, of course, that brings us with another Alberta boy. And I mean, it's they're a frustrating ass team because they have two of the greatest players in hockey and one of the greatest players to ever touch ice
I'm
in
sure they
Connor
do.
McDavid and Jesus. But
Mhm.
uh, they just can't seem to get over the hump. They're so fucking stupid and stubborn and don't
I
want to
know,
win the
right?
championship. So I'm gonna God, we're gonna go playoffs. I'm sure that's gonna piss off all the Alberta fans, but it is
You
what it is.
know, I can't argue with that.
Sean, you could fake it the way I do with the NBA. It's fine. It's okay. All right. The Florida Panthers. Now they also kind of made a bunch of weird moves to kind of both get rid of all of their talent and also
Well, this is a
gain
team that
ish.
over the last few years has seemed to be pretty competitive, right? Like they've
They have. It's weird. They were here last year. Easily. They were amazing, but then they just lost Jonathan Huberdeau. Yandel just retired. They just lost Claude Giroux, who they picked up at the deadline. Like, they're just kind of in an odd place. I feel like they're gonna regress and go back down to wild card, but
playoffs just to be safe.
yeah, I feel like playoffs maybe to be safe, but yeah, losing Huberdeau is such a big move that I'm like, oh Jesus.
Losing Huberdeau is a massive Hooper blow, you know what I mean?
It's not great. So I guess we'll see how that goes. The LA Kings, man. Oh my God, this team is going to be a real pain in the ass very soon. I think that they're a solid wild card. This team
What
has
happened to
some
me guessing?
fucking talent. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think they're gonna be a wild card team.
Yeah,
All in
that's
all,
fair, Sean.
I just just original thought, going with my gut, I think
Yeah.
this team's gonna be a wild card team.
Yeah. How about these Minnesota Wilds?
Man, let me tell you, nothing more. What's wild about the Wild?
Let's hear it.
How mid they are.
How mid they are. Yeah, no, I think this is a solid playoff team for sure.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, of course. The Habs. Who doesn't love the Habs?
It looks even better with the both ends of the C being cut
Just
off.
cut off. Yeah, don't
Uh-huh.
you love that?
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that's been kind of trending in the rebuilding direction for a while, right? Like, this seems like this is a team that's, like, kind of
Yeah,
like
they just went to the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, but that was kind of a Cinderella run. It was kind of their last gasp.
yeah. So, like, they're gonna be mid to bad.
Yeah, they were definitely dog shit last year. I'm gonna go with bad in this case. The annoying ass Predators.
Mid.
Yeah, they're as mid as it gets. Now, I will say they actually have a good enough swap of talent that I think they could squeak in this range. In fact, even a wild card might be a pretty good way to go. But I'm gonna keep them mid just because I don't like them. Uh, the Devils.
Mid to bad.
Yeah, I think, have a real opportunity to trend toward the better. I think that they can kind of get in this range, but I'm gonna give them mid. I have some faith in what they've been brewing. Oh, the Islanders. Oh, the
Oh,
Islanders.
Islanders. You're a wild card team.
Yeah, man, I hope so. This team is bizarre. They were literally on the cusp of here, and then all of a sudden they kind of just went to here or almost here last year. And I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm hoping that's an outlier, and just to be safe, we're gonna put them in wild card because Jesus, I feel like they should be here, but I think they had some COVID and some injury issues, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping that's all it was. But Christ Almighty, was that team ass? And of course the other New York team.
This is a playoff team, right? I mean, this is a team that was, that didn't I remember you telling me this is a team that could potentially contend last year.
This is a team that I think will go on to be a very potential dynasty very soon. Yeah, this team has an unbelievable amount of talent. I think that I even could see them flirting with champs this year. I feel like I struggle to put them that high, but at the same time, I don't know, with just how great their goaltending is and the depth that they have and defensively, like they kind of hit all of the boxes that you kind of need a playoff team to hit, especially like like goaltending. Honestly, in hockey, like it sounds simple, it really sounds simple, but like goaltending is kind of everything. It really is. If you run into a hot goalie, especially in the playoffs, like if you have a decent goalie throughout the regular season, it's kind of neither here nor there. But the playoffs is kind of where it actually matters.
Right.
So yeah, we're gonna put them there. The common denominator between these teams is essentially goaltending. All right, the Ottawa Senators.
I have a lot of thoughts on the Ottawa
I'm
Senators.
sure you do. I'm sure
Y-
you can name all of their off-season acquisitions.
You know, each and every one of them were just so instrumental into the season that they're looking to have going forward. This I can't even fake it.
I hate
I
you.
I
This
know.
team made some really fucking big moves, and they actually ended up with Claude Giroux, which is kind of an interesting move. But yeah, I think this is a team that will definitely be wild card. I think they're trending in the right direction.
I
So
will
good for
say
them.
though, they might have one of the worst logos in the NHL.
I just don't understand this take. My brother fucking hates it too. He would put their logo, excuse me, in dog shit. I think it's one of the best. I fucking love their logo.
It just looks so lame to me. It looks
Especially this one.
it,
This is the
to
new one,
me,
or this is
you know what it
the
is?
classic.
You know what it is for me? It looks like a minor league, like it looks like an arena league like if like Madden were to create like a shitty logo for like a minor league arena league football team, it would be that.
Fuck you.
Tell me I'm
Philadelphia
wrong.
Flyers. I think
Man,
you're wrong.
I I think you're wrong. Flyers are mid.
The Flyers, I think, will be dog shit this year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they had a bit of a fire sale. I think that team is lost. I think they've completely lost the plot. The Pittsburgh Penguins.
They'll be a wild card to playoff team. I think since they have and Sidney Crosby, they're always going to be relatively in the mix. I know they're not as good as they once was, but I mean,
Yeah.
they're still in the mix.
They're also kind of like Boston, where they're just this annoying fucking team that refuses to die. Like, no matter how bad they become, they're just like, nah, let's just continue to be kind of good. And I'm like, God, why? Now a team
Oh,
that has
SpongeBob boy.
a team with some updated uniforms this year, the Chicago, Jesus, the San Jose Shocks, who are really just bringing it home with the teal this year.
Man, the San Jose Sharks, what a special organization. You know, just all of the accomplishment they have.
Tons
Um,
of it.
yeah, all of the accomplishment.
Sure.
I'm gonna say this is a wild card playoff team.
This is, in fact, a bad team. Um,
I'm doing great at this.
the
This is this.
Seattle Kraken.
I mean, this was a team. I know that like they weren't that great last year, right? Like
No, and it was their very first season. So this is their second season now.
yeah. So I'd put them mid to bad. Like I still think they have like some room to like get better, and like they still have to like get some more talent.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they were pretty firmly in bad last year. I think that if they make the right moves and they have a shitload of cap space, I think they could sneak into mid. But yeah, I
Mhm.
think that they're going to still flirt in here. I think whenever they decide to finally open up their checkbook, they are going to quickly climb. But for now,
See,
they're holding on to their money.
they're gonna have one of the coolest fan bases in hockey, in my opinion, one day. Like I just
They
think
easily,
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
Seattle is going to be really fucking cool.
yeah. I think the Blues are gonna be a wild card to mid team.
Yeah, honestly, I think mid's probably the best place to put them. The Blues
Yeah.
are a kind of an odd organization in general, where they really like to just kind of slide up and down this pretty frequently. So, Tampa Bay Lightning,
I mean, the Lightning have made the cup like 2 out of the last 3 years, right?
si senor.
So, like, in and in theory, they haven't gotten worse?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, definitely, like, they've had some challenges as they continue to feel the pressure of the cap. If this was a pre-cap era, they would be kind of like the Red Wings and pretty much just be a perennial championship contender for the next 10 years at least. And
Right.
they still very well could be, but yeah, because of cap restrictions, which are supposed to go up a little bit. So I guess we'll see how they do with that. But yeah, no, I mean, even still, their talent is just ridiculous. They have the
Yeah.
greatest goalie in hockey, maybe of all time.
I mean, they're gonna at
Vasilevsky is
least be in the
fucking
mix,
insane.
right? Like
Oh,
even if they
easily,
don't make it,
easily,
like they're gonna be like
easily.
one of those like to me, it's like the Lightning are always gonna be one of those like final four teams we're talking about.
Currently, yes, and as long as they have Andrei Vasilevsky, I mean, he's literally one of the greatest goalies I've seen. So yeah, I mean, he's kind of a current day Patrick Waugh. So he has to bring them up to champs. So, um, and having Kucherov, it's like, come on, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Man, the a roster with such lineage, one of the original six, you know, uh,
I really hate this man.
this team's bad.
This team is definitely a playoff team and potentially cup winner.
Good for them.
The
Going places.
the Vancouver Canucks.
They're mid.
Yeah, man, the Canucks are an odd God, what an odd organization. They just can't ever seem to get their shit together. It just kind of is what it is. They do have like good talent and they keep adding like to their credit, but they just cannot seem to get the secret sauce. They can't seem to build any kind of like locker room chemistry. Like, yeah, they're just that fucking team. The Washington Capitals.
Man, well, like it's tough because I mean it's kind of like I feel very similar about the Capitals that I do the Penguins. It's like to me
Mm.
it's like very intrinsically one of the same to me. I know, I know they've kind of been slipping a little bit of late. I would put them in wild card to mid from what I can gauge.
Yeah, you can tell which teams you've actually watched any amount of. But yes, the the Capitals are certainly a team that, like, I
Hey,
mean,
to my credit, I'm not completely hockey illiterate.
you're pretty close. But I will say that as long as they have Ovechkin, yeah, it's kind of like you can't count them any lower really than wild card.
Go
The
yourself.
the Winnipeg Jets that I'm not even sure you realize are a team.
Oh no, I know the Winnipeg Jets are a thing,
Okay,
but you know what else I know?
what's that?
If they're gonna be mid.
They are going to be probably pretty mid. I think that
Yeah.
they no, I I do think that they're going to be somewhere in kind of this
Yeah.
range. They're kind of an odd team, still
Give
trying
me
to put
mid.
shit together.
Give me mid.
Yeah, they're
Give me
definitely
mid.
mid, especially once they got rid of Patrick Laine. I was kind of like, all right, well, you kind of have lost the plot a little bit here, haven't you?
Yeah.
All right, now my Vegas Golden Knights.
All right. Let me give you what I think they're gonna be just from what you tell me. Okay.
Okay. Oh, all right.
From all that you've given me, and,
Mm,
like I know this is a team that on paper, like they're getting. I know they traded for that one, that one star player last year. I know they've had like some struggles. I know like
being
they
Jack
haven't been
Eichel.
quite where you wanted them to be. I
Yes.
I would say this is a wild card team.
Okay. You know, I think you might be right simply from the standpoint of you aren't aware of this, but their star goaltender, and he can be a bit controversial as to whether or not he's a star goaltender, but yeah, Robin Leonard is out for season. And they don't really have anything for a backup. And considering that they just you know, burned the bridge to a crisp with Marc-Andre Fleury, and he's now firmly in Minnesota. Yeah, they're kind of fucked when it comes to goaltending. Now, they have all the offense in the world to where they should be able to go and compete for the championship because they've literally just went out and bought their way to a championship theoretically, but they have not stayed healthy. They've not been able to keep everyone on all at the same time. We haven't seen a full season of some of these guys. They just lost Max Pacioretty to the Hurricanes, although he also is out with an Achilles injury. It's just a frustrating roster of just sort of if they can put it all together, they should be great. But they're going to struggle regardless of the goaltending situation. But not having Robin Leonard is going to be a really bad situation.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm just excited to see what ways they piss you off this year.
they will. The Detroit Red Wings.
So to me, it looks like on paper this is a much more, it seems like this team keeps heading in the right direction. It seems like
Mhm.
we're getting more and more talent. I don't know if I would put them in the wild card race just yet, but to me it seems like they're going to be mid to wild card. I don't think they're
Yeah,
going to be bad this year.
I agree. I'm really hoping we are done with the days of this because we have been down here for quite some time.
Yeah.
We
To me,
spent a
I
lot
think
of last year here. I hope we at least get here.
I think that's where we're at. I think this is a year where I think this team turns the corner. I could see a wild card scenario. I mean,
Sure.
just from like the rookies that we had alone last year, just going into year two, like just the talent that we have in that aspect. But I mean, also, just I don't know, man. Just like just I every person that watches hockey tells me to trust Stevie Y and everything that he's doing. And I
You should absolutely.
and even, I've actually watched some preseason hockey of this team so far, and, like, they actually look pretty good, so
Yeah, honestly, the keys for this team moving forward, and the only way that we can even pretend to flirt with a wild card, which I just don't quite see happening, but it's going to come down to obviously health. You can say that with any team ever.
Right.
But obviously, having hit a home run with both of our rookies last year is going to be a huge boon for this team, and seeing them continue to develop is going to be huge. Um, Seeing what Nedeljkovic is able to do this year, he was technically a rookie last year, and he has really nowhere to go but up. And I think he can be a great, great goaltender. Um, and I think with guys like Jacob Vrana, hopefully being healthy all season, getting to see what he looks like in the lineup for a full year. He looked great initially after the Mantha trade, but I guess we'll see kind of
That
what he looks like in a full season. But
that one forward we have that's 6'8", who looks like a freaking monster.
yeah, um, yeah, I'm trying to like think of who you're talking about.
I know he's like one of those deeper guys on the training camp roster, right? Like the odds of him
Yeah,
actually making the roster isn't high.
yeah, probably. I don't quite remember, but yeah, and I think Bertuzzi is going to continue to be our grinder, and I think especially without COVID being really an issue this year, I think that he can contribute fully. And obviously Dylan Larkin, the captain himself. I mean, Dylan Larkin, if he can have a fully healthy season and can, kind of solidify himself as the leader of that locker room and really bring everyone together, and continue to be a decent goal scorer. So is he a number one center, like the star of our team? It's kind of hard to say. I think as a Red Wings fan, you kind of want to romanticize him in a lot of ways. But and that's not to say that he's not deserving of where he's at. But yeah, I think this team's definitely going to need to spend some more money. I think we're going to need to have some looks at the trade deadline, stuff like that, for some deals. But
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I believe in Stevie Y. I think he's a genius. I think he's done everything absolutely right for this team. He continues to draft incredibly. And yeah, I think the Red Wings have nowhere to go but up, obviously. But I think mid is a pretty safe spot for our Detroit Red Wings.
Heck yeah, man. I think they're in a pretty exciting spot. But all in all, I mean, in all seriousness, I am excited to watch some hockey this year. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it's always enjoyable whenever the season tips off. And one of my favorite traditions is hanging out around NHL and NBA playoffs, and you guys watching hockey and me sneaking basketball on my phone, and you guys making fun of me for it. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
It's the best. Or when we're at like a sports bar and you're watching the one TV that's got like basketball on
Basketball.
it, and then we're watching the hockey. Yeah. Great.
I have an
Um
illness. It's really what it is.
It's okay. And yeah, when it comes to hockey, man, obviously I'm a diehard Red Wings and Golden Knights, but I just love hockey so much that I'm like, I just love watching the sport. It's like teams kind of be damned for me in some ways. Like I just fucking love hockey. Um,
Right.
I'm so pumped, man. But yeah, this actually is a t-shirt of the Avalanche, but last year their like rally song throughout the playoffs was All the Small Things by Blink 182. So it's a mashup
Mm.
of Blink 182 and the Avalanche. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's actually really cool.
it's pretty neat. So yeah, it's based on the cover of the album that actually that
Oh.
song's not even on, which is the funniest part to me. All the Small Things is on Enema of the State, and the self-titled record is where this artwork comes from. But nevertheless,
Hey, they just went with what looked the coolest. That's
they
really
sure
that's
did.
really what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks fucking awesome. So
Oh, it
yeah.
looks dope.
Yeah, it's got the abs colors and everything, so and the little X'd out eyes and all that. It's pretty cool. So, but Sean, I think that we covered some good ground here. We decided who are going to be the winners, who are going to be the losers. We talked about Tom Brady and the fact that he's going to play for at least 10 more full seasons. We talked about how the Lions suck, the Raiders suck, the Buccaneers suck, and we are in a den of sadness. But Sean, have no fear. The
We
Pizza Palace is here for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, the Pizza Palace is here for you,
For
brothers.
you, brother and sisters. All right. And we
And
will
you non binary Hulkamaniacs out there.
Christ, you they thems brothers. Wait.
You they them brothers.
Anyways, we'll see you in a local college hockey arena for the Coyotes. Ow! Go
Oh,
Arizona State,
we
I
love all our
guess.
Hulkamaniacs, brother.